I am so excited that you all are joining us this afternoon, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Civic Leadership Institute Executive Class of 2021. I'm Sarah Jane Kirkland, President and CEO of Civic. I'm quite certain that even with my best attempt at a Southern accent, y'all, you've quite figured out that I'm not originally from Hampton Roads. And while that is true, I'm originally from that really small island in the Atlantic, also known as Great Britain. But I have lived here in the region for almost 20 years. Working at Civic has helped me to make some of the best friends I could ever ask for. It's helped me to connect with some of the smartest and most committed people I know, and it's given me the chance to really understand what makes this region tick. So now this is for the members of the Civic Class of 2021. We are so honored that you have selected to dedicate time out of your incredibly busy schedules during a year that we are all being pushed to our absolute limits. Thank you for investing yourselves in a program that will help you to learn more about the community in which we all live and work. Your time in Civic could not have come at a more critical moment in our region's history. Your leadership is needed. We have important work to do and important dialogue to engage in. You're joined today by some of our esteemed alumni who set remarkable examples of how each and every one of us can step up and make a difference. They're here to celebrate you and to support you. Later in the programming, you'll have the chance to interact with our alumni where they can share with you what being part of Civic means the most to them. Beginning the Civic year out on a virtual platform is certainly very different to years past. So Civic alumni, could this actually mean that the Civic Class of 2021 already has an edge on their quest to being the best class ever? Now, with challenges always come opportunities though, and using a virtual platform can also provide access for our alumni in class to engage and collaborate with each other in ways that were perhaps not possible before. As soon as it is safe to do so, we have planned activities to get together in person. In the interim, I hope that you will have an open mind about the ways that we'll use our virtual tools to help you all get to know each other and build those relationships that are such a crucial component of our organization. We're famous for making connections and providing opportunities to collaborate, which I can assure you goes well past Zoom. While I can't predict the future on when we can all get together in person, I want you to know that being part of the class is just the very beginning part of your journey. You were nominated to participate in Civic by alumni because you demonstrated commitment to the region. Our nominating committee selected to invite you from that substantial pool of nominees because of your skill sets and your passion to create a better region. During today's event, I encourage you to use the chat function and message each other. There's an option for you to chat individually by selecting someone's name, or you can send a message to the entire group. Whether virtual or in person, our programming is designed to be interactive and engaging. We encourage you to ask questions. We encourage you to share ideas and resources. We also encourage you to connect with each other in between days. Can you please consider your fellow classmates new friends in the making? Whilst we're in this virtual realm, we're going to ask you to participate throughout the year in interactive polls. And so here is our first poll question. It will appear on your screen and you're going to have about 20 seconds to select your answer. So we're going to see who studied up on the history of Civic before they entered this Zoom call. And alumni, you must make sure that you participate too. So Amasa, would you mind launching that poll, please?
I've just launched the poll, so you should see it up on your screen. I'm starting to see a few votes coming through.
You know what, Amasa, should we make this easy because it is the welcome event? Maybe I should give them a few hints.
Sounds like a good plan.
How about this? Civic was founded the same year as Atlanta hosted the Summer Olympics. Pokemon was introduced to the world. Bill Clinton was re-elected for a second term, and the Fox News channel made its debut. Contestants, if you are ready, you get about another 10 seconds.
Looks like about 75% of people have voted so far. So the last few of you want to go ahead and submit your vote. I will be ending the poll in just about 5 seconds.
Don't be shy. All right, I think that we should go ahead and announce how everybody thought that let's see how they did. What do you think, Amasa?
Okay, so it looks like 1996 won, followed by 1991 and 1990.
Very good. Well, I see those people who selected 1996. Well done. You guys go to the absolute top of the class. And if it was all alumni that selected that, well done. You should know better anyway. For those few of you who got it wrong, I guess we're going to have to set up some extra time for tutoring. But in 1996, in that year, Civic Leadership Institute was founded by a small group of leaders from across the region. They joined together to explore the idea of creating programming for senior executives in the region, looking to garner a better understanding of the intricacies that make up Hampton Roads. Josh Darden was among those founders. Josh was the ultimate servant leader and connector. He understood the power of leadership, service, philanthropy, volunteerism, but most importantly, he understood the power of connections. The network of alumni has grown to over 950 executives. What this provides you with is exclusive access to the best minds in the region. You will interact with members of the greater 757 community that you might not necessarily have had the chance to connect with in your day-to-day. Even those who are well connected tend to work in silos. Being connected with a wide array of people from across the region strengthens the very fabric of our community and helps us to advance change to better the lives of the people in the 757. Some of our special guest speakers today will share with you the impact that Civic has made for them, for both professionally and personally. We ask that you attend each program day ready to listen, ready to share your thoughts and vision, and ready to share your talents. Our region is made up of 17 localities and over 1.8 million people, and we have incredible resources in our area, with each community having its own unique identity. Understanding that complex makeup of our region, as well as the challenges and opportunities that are faced in each locality, is an important stepping stone to driving change. Civic invites our region's subject matter experts to take a deep dive into some of our community's toughest issues. You'll be asked to look introspectively at the role you will play to advance our region. Within the chat function now, I encourage you all to share what you think is the top challenge that we face here in Hampton Roads. And as you're kind of thinking of that, I'll share some of the sessions that we've got planned for you. Alumni, we encourage you to participate in the chat. Also be on the lookout, alumni, for things in your email coming through with invitations to join some of our upcoming program day sessions, which we encourage you to join us with. Our region is incredibly diverse. Diversity enriches our everyday lives, inspires creativity, and drives innovation. We will talk throughout the year about ways we can better embrace our diversity, which offers so much opportunity and improves quality of life. We'll also spend time examining the impact that systemic racism has on our society and the role that leaders play in building an equitable and inclusive community for all. The impact of this global pandemic was unimaginable. It has exposed and emphasized on a national scale our country's economic and health disparities that weaken our ability towards progress. We, as leaders, are tasked with finding ways to not only recover from this crisis, but to rebuild and repair those systems that are fractured. Our programming will take a deep dive into what drives our economy, how we develop a sustainable talent pipeline, support the region's industry clusters, our education system, environmental issues, transportation, health and human services, as well as the future of regionalism and the progress towards a mega region. These are just a few topics that we have planned for you. Now, I really appreciate you all participating in the chat, and I know that Amasa has been taking a look at this to see what some of the running themes are. Have you seen anything there, Amasa, where you've seen several people selecting the same challenge?
Yes, certainly. There's a lot of different challenges listed here, but I think the main themes we're seeing are regionalism, transportation, workforce and talent related issues, and also a few around flooding and sea level rise.
Excellent. We want to let you know that this chat is something that we actually are able to access after we finish this meeting. So we'll be able to take some of these and take a real deep dive to make sure that we're covering all of this in our programming. So please, if you didn't have the chance to participate, continue doing that within the chat. We really appreciate you participating in this exercise. I think it clearly demonstrates that there is a need for action, and it will require leaders to put aside their own agendas and work together. And the time is now. So speaking about working together, it's a word that is used a great deal in Hampton Roads in both a positive and negative way, and that word is collaboration. Collaboration happens when there is trust. Trust happens from making solid relationships where individuals, organizations, and communities are given room to flourish. So we're going to take another poll. The poll question is, how important do you feel regional collaboration is to our future success? Amasa, would you mind launching that poll, please?
Sure thing. I just launched it, so you should see it appear on your screens now.
Thank you. For anybody who's just joining us, we are taking part in a poll. The question is, how important do you feel that regional collaboration is to our future success?
Looks like about 75% have voted already. You guys are getting the hang of this poll experience here. So I'm just going to leave it open for another few seconds, and then we will go ahead and share the results. Awesome. So it looks like the answer, I see regional collaboration as the key to economic vitality and success, did come in with a very strong percent of 80% of the folks joining us today choosing that answer.
That's excellent. And we really appreciate you guys for participating in that poll. Your program year actually commences today. Just a very small part of what we'll be doing during the program year with some of our speakers. And again, we will be using a lot of interactive tools. So we appreciate you taking part in that. Each month we come together and we ask you to attend with an open mind and ready to engage. There's a famous phrase that we have adapted and adopted, which is what happens at CIVIC stays at CIVIC. And we hold to this. We want to provide everyone with the chance to share their knowledge and opinions in a safe, inclusive space that promotes respect and understanding. Now, for anyone who has ever organized a conference, you will know that a successful execution requires a team of great people. And we are a small but mighty team. And it is my honor to introduce our members that fine-tune each and every aspect of the programming. Amasa Smith serves in the role of Director of Programming and Communications. Amasa helps oversee the content of our programming and organizes all of our external communication. Amasa is here today, and she's going to share with you a little bit about the role that she plays. Amasa, take it away.
Thanks so much, Sarah Jane. Hi, I'm Amasa Smith. I was born and raised in Norfolk and attended Allegheny College, which is a little bit north of Pittsburgh, and received my degree in international studies with a concentration in public policy. I moved back to the area in 2017 to start my job with CIVIC for what makes this region fantastic. I've had the pleasure of overseeing both our CIVIC Executive Program and our CIVIC Scholars Program that Sarah Jane will tell you a little bit more about shortly. My primary role is handling the planning, execution, and success of our program, as well as working with our network of alumni. For our incoming class members, I will be your main point of contact throughout the program year. Right now, you probably know me as the person who's been sending you a lot of emails, but I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you better. It is an honor to work every day with so many fantastic business and community leaders, as well as our wonderful team here at CIVIC.
Thank you so much, Amasa. And Amasa really is, she really holds everything together for the executive program, and we're really grateful to her for all of her hard work, especially this summer when we've had to do an awful lot of pivoting from place to place. So she's really been a good sport on that. CIVIC's not just an executive program though. We also produce a program for high-performing ODU and TCC students. CIVIC, in partnership with ODU, recognized an opportunity to provide leadership training for college students. The CIVIC Scholars Program began in 2013. The program focuses on developing the spirit of professionalism, civic engagement, and cultivating leadership skills in college students. Our programming emphasizes the importance of playing an active role in the community you live in to help influence change. It is also designed to promote Hampton Roads as a destination community. By engaging young people and helping them to make connections with local leaders, we are working to reduce the brain drain whilst providing students in the region with the knowledge, tools, and connections to step into leadership roles earlier in their careers. The program has a 4-year rotating curriculum that helps the students to continue to grow whilst providing unique experiences. The program days, like for the executives, are timely and topical. During some of the executive programs, you might have the chance to connect with a civic scholar, and I can assure you that you will leave the conversation in awe of their passion, dedication, and their service records. Junior students are offered the chance to be connected with a mentor. For those of you in our alumni who have already had the chance to serve in that role, I know that you will agree what a rewarding experience that is. Civic Class of 2021, we encourage you to engage these students and we encourage you to express an interest in mentoring. I guarantee that you will walk away inspired. Our senior students this year, as part of their senior board experience, are currently working with some of the last year's program executives on one of our community impact initiatives. They'll learn the skills needed for project management and have the opportunity to engage in a meaningful regional initiative. The leader of our Civic Scholars program is Megan Shuford. Megan joined us last year and she hit the ground running. She has already had a successful opening session, a Scholars Senior Board meeting, and their very first program day. Megan is here today to share a little bit about her role. Megan, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Sarah Jane, for sharing a bit about the Scholars Program. Hello, my name is Megan. It's my pleasure to work with our amazing scholars throughout their time with the Scholars Program. I'm from Hampton. I'm the token Peninsula member of the team, and I moved back to the area in 2019 after being gone for a few years for school, work, and travel. I graduated from Sweetbriar College with a degree in psychology, and I bring experience working with students from my time as a camp counselor, as well as working at St. Margaret's Boarding School in Tappahannock. I love the opportunities that Civic has given me to learn more about our region and to help local college and university students do the same. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about getting involved with the students. I am already excited for you to meet them all virtually as they will be joining us at some events over the coming months. Now, although I joined the team after her graduation from the Scholars Program, she is the perfect example of never being able to leave Civic, and I very much enjoyed getting to know this amazing lady. It is my pleasure to introduce Destini Harrell. Destini is a Civic Scholar alum and current ODU MBA student with a bachelor's in finance, real estate, and communication. Destini is a community amplifier, central connector, and street-level economic and cultural developer. A full-time student and community discoverer, she is constantly exploring what difference she can make with her unique range of experiences and interests. As a Hampton Roads native, she has a great love for her region and desires to be an active and vocal part of making a difference here at home and beyond. The floor is now yours, Destini.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm glad to see familiar faces, new faces here. I could not start first without raving about these lovely 3 ladies you all get to work with for this class. And of course, the civic team, the executives, the alumni, just everyone, and of course, the Scholars Program. This is a very unique opportunity we all get to have, whether you're a student or whether you're an executive, and we're all so blessed to be a part of it. And I know for me, Civic has been very life-changing. It's been very purpose-guiding as I've journeyed through the past 5 years of life. So I came to ODU as a student who once had dreams of leaving this region, so this is home for me. I had little confidence to speak up. I didn't really know what I cared about, but I really see Civic was a major part of me becoming who I am today, which is someone who wants to stay, but I want to throw it out there before I keep going. So through the programming and through my mentor experiences, I became a more confident, community-oriented person. And, you know, through my experiences with the program, I really learned that 3 of the most important things you could give anyone in life is exposure, mentorship, and getting them engaged. And Civic and the executives that I got to work with did that for me and more. And I became something I never thought I could be here. So until Civic Scholars, I didn't see a place for myself here. I didn't even know I could make a difference here. That wasn't something that crossed my mind. But Civic showed me, one, what was great about the region, but 2, there are some really great people out there like you all who really want to see our region grow, work in unity, collaborate, and really become a region on the map. So it's because of people like you know, who are willing to share their lives with me, who are willing to share their wisdom, but also encourage me to do the same back. It's because of you all that I have this passion to stay here and make a difference and encourage other young people like me to continue forward into the future. And I look forward to working with all of you. And, you know, this goes beyond, you know, your civic class. This is something for a lifetime. So I'm excited for you all in this journey. I know how much Civic has meant to me, and I know it'll mean so much to you all.
We can't thank you enough, Destini. You really are an absolute superstar. And Megan, thank you so much as well for all that you do for the Civic Scholars. Destini really has become kind of a member of our team. Isn't that right, Destini? So we really appreciate it. It's actually now my honor to welcome a very dear friend and mentor. Kit Chope, Civic class of 2014, joined the Port of Virginia in July 2015 after retiring from the United States Navy with 26 years of service. I think Kit will be the first to share that his connections through Civic helped him to find his new role and encouraged him to stay here in Hampton Roads. Kit was a tactical jet aviator. Highlights of his career include command of Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach and Strike Fighter Squadron 22 in Lemoore, California. In his capacity as Vice President Sustainability, Kit leads and coordinates all internal and external engineering, environmental, and coastal resiliency activities for the Port of Virginia. He's actively involved in the local community through membership on several nonprofit boards, including his favorite board, where he serves as Civic's board chair. Kit, welcome to the virtual stage.
Thanks, Sarah Jane. And I think that is a huge disservice to have me follow Destini. Destini, thank you as always for your inspiring words. And I'll tell y'all, if Destini represents the future that is embodied within our Scholars Program, we're in really good hands. So class of 2021, on behalf of our board of directors, welcome to Civic. We're really excited to have you here, and I hope your families, yourselves, your colleagues have stayed healthy and safe throughout these difficult times. To more than 60 of my fellow alums who have joined us today, as well as many of my board members, and I should say many members of the class of 2014, the top Civic class of all time, we all joined you here to make sure you start off on the right foot. So for all those extra folks, thank you for being here. Normally, I think you know this event would take place just down Granby Street at the other end towards the Scope at the Robin Hickson Theater. And I'm sorry we couldn't quite pull that off this evening. I promise Sarah Jane and I tried everything we could, but I am thrilled to welcome another exceptionally impressive class, especially with a lot of friendly and familiar faces in it. We all look forward to getting to know you, each and every one of you, over the coming months. So Civic Leadership Institute's motto is regional relationships and regional results. And for more than 20 years, so 1996, public math notwithstanding, some 24 years, we've brought together influential and engaged leaders from across Hampton Roads in an unbiased, non-political, and open exchange of ideas. As you've heard from the ladies earlier, countless connections have been formed over those years that have brought so many positive changes to the social and economic well-being of this region and well beyond. And additionally, our Civic alumni incorporate their own experiences, knowledge, and relationships into their business and altruistic pursuits. Now look, you guys are the leaders and are the leaders who are shaping the future of this region. You are diverse in what you do. You're diverse in where you work and where you live. You're diverse in your experiences. You're diverse in what you focus your energy on. And this next 8 months and beyond will afford you an opportunity to build upon all the goodness that is inherent within that diversity, to build meaningful relationships with your classmates, with the 950 plus alumni, with business, governmental, and thought leaders of the region. Because month after month, we're going to expose you to the strengths and the challenges of this storied region. We're going to tackle the issues most important to our collective well-being, including recent initiatives focused on coastal resilience, growth of regional broadband, the hospitality career pathways, and the mega region concept. You'll all participate in similar community impact initiatives that benefit our region and our neighbors. You'll connect with the thought leaders and the doers who are making those decisions that affect the long-term well-being of Hampton Roads, to make it a place that young adults like Destini want to put down roots, to make it a place that leads in the development and innovative technologies and engineered solutions to combat sea level rise. That's for you, Katerina. And to make it a place where all, and Paula, I saw you were there too, and to make it a place where all of our neighbors have access to the services and amenities we all take for granted. They're not 8-month projects. They're issues that will take years and all of our efforts to solve. You'll also be exposed to other large-scale regional projects and organizations that fuel economic growth, such as Go Virginia, Reinvent Hampton Roads, the Hampton Roads Alliance, and the mega region concept. So, you know, we all recognize that this is a brave new world, and the events of 2020 have challenged all of us, and certainly CIVIC in so many ways, not only in our approach to how we bring leaders together, but also in the focus of our programming. And I think you'll see that we are agile enough to respond to what society and the globe and the region demand. While we're all eager to escape the bonds of these virtual meetings, and nobody hates Zoom and Teams and everything else more than I, we've embraced that technology, and we've opened up our discussions to include a very wide array of speakers, partners, and stakeholders in our discussions, probably more so than we could have done had we been doing it in person. As background, I can assure you that we have all been directly engaged across this, or CIVIC has been directly engaged across the spectrum of the region's response, recovery, and reconstitution efforts associated with the unprecedented impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we will offer you insights and opportunities to become involved in long overdue and absolutely necessary conversations on social equity and racial injustice. Each program day is unique and irreplaceable. And I recognize I've got the list of the 40 of y'all right here, and it looks like every year you are the movers and shakers of this region. You have many demands on your busy schedules. I would ask that you make CIVIC a priority to maximize the investment that you've made in yourself and your profession. Be in the moment when you're here with minimal distractions. Please come without bias and with an open mind, and come with questions. Bring your unique experience to the dialogue. So later this evening, you'll hear from my fellow CIVIC alums on their experiences and the value they place in CIVIC. But for right now, I'm going to finish my welcome and say, Sarah Jane, now the floor is yours, madam.
Thank you so much, Kit. Really, really appreciate it. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our very first guest speaker. She was a member of the very special CIVIC class of 2020, which is also known as the most resilient class of all time. Bonita Billingsly Harris is a regional policy director for Dominion Energy's Eastern region, which includes Hampton Roads and Northern North Carolina. In that role, she serves as liaison for media, elected officials, and community leaders. Bonita previously was the communications manager for the Norfolk Sheriff's Office, where she produced motivational videos for inmates and supported community programs. Bonita was also an Emmy Award-winning TV news reporter, earning several local, regional, and national awards. And she worked right here at WVEC TV in Norfolk, which I think is absolutely super to know. Bonita is passionate about education, having served for 4 years on the Chesapeake School Board. She and her husband, Elisha Cadillac Harris, have 3 daughters and 1 granddaughter. Bonita, it is such an honor to have you with us tonight, and the virtual floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Jane. Can you hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, we had a wonderful breakout session as well. I'm glad we're not the only ones that didn't get all the way around the room. And I think that's a testament to how fascinating and interesting our class of 2021 is. And we just have so much to learn as we get to know them better and network with them more. So I'm excited about it. As Sarah Jane said, I'm a graduate of the class of 2020, which is not only the best class ever, it's the first ever virtual blend class and the most resilient class ever amid the pandemic. So we had hybrid in-person and half virtual visits and experiences. I really enjoyed meeting some amazing leaders across our region and getting to know them and learning a lot of new things about important regional issues. Some we've already talked about, such as broadband, resiliency, the necessity of retaining and recruiting our best pool of college graduates and young professionals in our area. Our region's identity crisis. Are we Hampton Roads? Are we coastal Virginia? The latest 757. Maybe your class, the class of 2021, will be the ones to get it resolved once and for all. That would be awesome. It was really nice for us to travel across our region to the different cities and learn new things about them that we may not have known before. Our kickoff overnight retreat was in Colonial Williamsburg, and it was a lot of fun to meet Thomas Jefferson, who answered some tough questions for us, including I asked him about his relationship with Sally Hemings, which fascinates me, and he did a great job handling those. Another highlight for me was meeting Christine Darden of the Virginia Air and Space. When we were visiting the Virginia Air and Space Museum in Hampton, she was not one of the main characters featured in the hit movie Hidden Figures, but she was one of the incredible African-American women who served as one of NASA's human computers. And she was amazing, had a lot of firsts, and earned a Congressional Medal of Honor for her work. She's about 80 years old, and I can tell you that when it comes to mathematics and the sonic boom and just about everything else, she's still as sharp as a tack. She had us all on the edge of our seats. And the last thing I'll say is that once you go through this class, one of the wonderful things is that you become part of the CIVIC family with access to ongoing networking, opportunities, and communications about our region. So welcome, and I look forward to getting to know all of you better.
Thank you so much, Bonita. We really appreciate you joining us, and thank you for being such a good sport last year. You've got some fellow class members that are joining you tonight too, and I think they'll all attest that we were in it together and in it to win it. So thank you so much. Our next guest is again from the CIVIC class of 2020. Akhil Jain is the president of Landmark Hotel Group. He oversees all aspects of Landmark's activities, including business strategy, operations, asset management, and investment policy. Additionally, he is responsible for the company's development activities, including new property development, acquisitions, capital transactions, and deal structuring. He brings over 25 years of operational and development experience to the company. Prior to his current role, he oversaw the finance and development activities of the company, and he has successfully held numerous positions in resort hotel operations, working his way from a line team member to the general manager. Akhil serves as director on the boards of various organizations, including Town Bank, the Coliseum Central Business Improvement District, and the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters Health System, where he serves as chairman. He also serves as a member of the Hampton Roads Community Leadership Partners, Virginia Beach Vision, and 757 Angels. Welcome, Akhil.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that very, very gracious introduction. I am truly proud to belong to the CIVIC class of 2020. And while some may debate the fact that we are the best class ever, I don't think anyone can debate the fact that we are the most resilient class ever. And having said that, we are happy to share the resiliency title with the class of 2021, as you too will persevere amidst the challenges of COVID. So class of 2021, we welcome you. Similar to Bonita, I had a wonderful CIVIC experience. In all my years of professional work in the 757, nothing has provided me a better education of the challenges and the opportunities that face our region, or has given me a better opportunity for the broad networking that CIVIC brings to the table. And today I've been asked to share my experience with the community impact initiatives And I'm really happy to do so because it was perhaps the most rewarding component for my civic year for me personally. So what are the community impact initiatives? The CIIs are your opportunity to work alongside your civic classmates to research, address, and make recommendations around real challenges and real opportunities facing our region. I anticipate your class will probably focus on the themes of recovery this year, which is very appropriate. My team's focus during the past year was centered around developing and articulating career pathways for students interested in hospitality careers. As many of you know, oftentimes hospitality is looked at as a part-time job or a temporary job or a side job, as opposed to what it really is, a dynamic industry with rewarding careers where education can play an important role. And our industry sponsor was TCC, and as part of TCC's plans for its new revamped hospitality program, the pathways were going to be used to help students understand how to leverage education and identify paths to careers in hospitality. So as part of our research, we interviewed 17 regional hospitality professionals focused on areas of F&B and operations to develop a fantastic career flowchart with pay bands, duration expectations that ultimately not only benefits TCC, but also hospitality employers in the region. We also decided to take the objective a little bit further, and we, as part of our interviews, we asked wide-ranging questions designed to get actionable feedback on TCC's current hospitality program, as well as what hospitality employers are looking for in today's graduates. We then packaged all our findings in a white paper for presentation to our civic class and alumni. But before we hit the send button, we reflected on the hospitality industry's severe shortage of qualified workers. And we asked ourselves, how can our team do more to create a lasting impact for both local industry and students? And so out of this desire to make a lasting difference, the Civic Hospitality Scholarship Fund was born. We partnered with the Crop Foundation, which is a wonderful local nonprofit focused on furthering hospitality opportunities for students, and we established a scholarship fund to annually award scholarships to deserving students looking to pursue degrees in hospitality. Students will formally apply for these scholarships, and the scholarships will be awarded on the basis of merit and need. Our hope is that your class and future classes will further grow and nurture the scholarship fund in the years to come. So we initially raised $3,000, and this Crop Foundation agreed very nicely to provide matching funds of another $3,000. In addition to that, TCC agreed to contribute a matching scholarship through their foundation. So on top of TCC's matching scholarship, we have raised to date over $8,000 and are soliciting further support. We are just shy of the funds required to meet our goal of providing a year of tuition to 3 deserving students next year. As you know, the hospitality industry has been particularly hard hit by the pandemic, and I can attest to that as well as anybody with my industry. And it's been tough, and the Scholarship Fund is a great vehicle to ensure that students interested in hospitality and the tourism field can continue their education despite the difficult environment. So if this mission resonates with you today, I am shamelessly inviting you to consider contributing to this fund. So if you have an interest, please contact the Civic Leadership Team or myself, and we're happy to give you further details on how you can be a part of this great cause. I thank you in advance for your consideration. And so in closing, in addition to the great relationships that were built with my team members, I highly value the outcomes that were achieved from our CII work. I'm confident that you too will enjoy the same rewards during your work this year. So I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you so much, Akhil. And I know that Megan has typed into the chat function there if you want to find out more about the Crop Foundation. You're getting an awful lot of congratulations in that chat there, Akhil. Good job. Yeah, there's a lot of big supporters of yours. And, you know, the hospitality industry is a very key component of our economy here in Hampton Roads. So we definitely want to try to support however we can. So Akhil, thank you to you and your team. You worked tirelessly on that project, and we really appreciate it. So our very next special guest speaker is from the CIVIC class of 2016, and he is a valued member of the CIVIC Board of Directors. Reverend Dr. Kevin Swann is the senior pastor of Ivy Baptist Church in Newport News, where he began his service in 2006. He is also an adjunct professor at the Religious Studies Department at the Hampton University. In 2007, Dr. Swann co-founded and currently is the co-host of The Pastor's Study, a weekly radio broadcast that airs on WHOV, iHeartRadio, and on SiriusXM. In 2008, Dr. Swann founded Kevin Swann Enterprises, a nonprofit faith-based organization that provides services to underprivileged youth and adults in the Southeastern Virginia area. Dr. Swann is passionate about finding ways that our region can grow and heal. His leadership in our community has helped to bring together people from all backgrounds. He's helped to advance the dialogue on the challenges of race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Dr. Swann is well respected by his congregation and leaders throughout the Hampton Roads area. Kevin and his wife, Latrice, live with their 2 children, Cameron and Cole, in Hampton, Virginia. Pastor Swann, thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Sarah Jane, and to all of you, again, welcome class of 2021. As mentioned, I represent the class of 2016, the best class ever, and I know we have some who are with us tonight that are from that same class, so I welcome you also, and it's good to see you all as well. I want to start by saying that I am extremely grateful to be a part of the CIVIC group. I have learned and benefited tremendously from being around great leaders. And even having the pleasure of serving on the board. And I want to thank our president of our board, Kit Chope, as well, for his leadership and guidance. I am passionate about leadership. As I mentioned, John Maxwell in his book said that the success and failure of any organization rises and falls on leadership. And so to put that in a sport vernacular, because I'm also a huge sport fan, I played basketball at ODU, so a lot of my life lessons were learned through sport. I know that in football, whenever the team is not doing well, the 2 positions that are immediately looked at to be replaced are the coach and the quarterback. Those 2 positions both reflect leadership. And so when we look at organizations, when we look at any entity, whether that's our families, whether that's organizations, whether that's whatever, we always want to start with the leadership, because success and failure rises and falls with it. So to that end, I'm very excited about this opportunity that CIVIC is deciding to do, because whenever you do look at leadership, from my vantage point, there are 2 areas that you have to look at. Leaders are responsible for the culture of the organization, and they're also responsible for the systems that are in place within that organization. So the reason why leaders have greater levels of responsibility is because, in theory, we have the ability in some cases to shift the culture and to change the systems that are in place. So if an organization doesn't have a good culture, like in sport, a culture of losing, then you bring in someone else to create a culture of winning. And you create the systems that support winning on a consistent basis. And that's the greatest challenge that I want to leave with you, class of 2021, that you look at within your organization, the people that you lead, and the people that are in your business or organization. What kind of culture is there? What kind of systems are in place? And what can you do as a leader to shift both of those? I think we've all seen the narratives that have taken place in our nation. And we know pretty much that there is an issue of social injustice and unrest within our nation. And what we want to do here at CIVIC is do something that has not been done before. And that is have some meaningful discussion and dialogue that will, first of all, bring personal awareness to what we see. Because oftentimes as leaders, we don't always have safe spaces to discuss very sensitive issues. So we're attempting to offer this through the CIVIC program, to talk about social injustice, to talk about equity, talk about diversity and inclusion. So next month, we're very excited to let you know that on Friday, October the 23rd, we will be having a discussion on diversity, race, and inclusion. It will be led and hosted by our very own Dr. Janice Underwood, who is the State Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. She is the first person of its kind in the state of Virginia, and she's the first person in the nation that's ever had a state position of its kind. So she's going to be with us on October the 23rd. And then also there will be a panel discussion and breakout opportunities for us to really be able to process how we feel and what we see happening in our nation. And on that panel will be Dr. Mary Kate Andrews, President and CEO of the YWCA of Southampton Roads, Larry Boone, who is the Chief of Police in the city of Norfolk, Dr. Ron Carley, who is the Director of Center for Region of Excellence at Old Dominion, and myself. We'll be on that panel to be able to have some further dialogue and discussion. And we're very much looking forward to having that. And I just want to close by saying this, that regardless of our personal views and lenses, we may be supervising or leading someone that has a very different view than our own. So when we're talking about culture and system, we have to be aware that when we lead, we want to create an organization and culture and environment that supports the values and the dignity and the worth of every individual, even if they do not personally agree with our views. So we're looking forward to next month. Very excited about this effort. I want to thank Sarah Jane again for her efforts in putting this together. We'll see you next month.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. And we also, I know on behalf of our entire board as well, we thoroughly appreciate your, obviously your fantastic guidance, but also just all of the work that you're doing in the community up on the peninsula and also on the south side too. We really do appreciate that. So thank you. Our very next special guest is participating in the CIVIC class of 2013. Bob Geis was appointed Chesapeake Deputy City Manager on July the 1st, 2016. Prior to his civilian public service, Bob served as naval officer for 29 years. He flew both the aircraft carrier-based S-3B Viking, which being his first aircraft, I think if you asked him, he would actually say it was his very favorite, and the FA-18 Super Hornet. Ashore, he worked on numerous staffs, including the United States Central Command immediately following 9/11, and deployed in support of operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom. He was selected to command Naval Air Station Oceana. Are you seeing a theme here? In 2010, and led the Navy's response and recovery effort to the Good Friday miracle, the FA-18 mishap in Virginia Beach in April 2012. Bob's leadership skills were tried yet again when he was serving at the Washington Navy Yard with the tragic shooting that occurred in September of 2013. Bob was directed to lead the post-incident assessment of all ashore Navy security, as well as implement those recommended improvements. Bob's final duty ashore was as Chief of Staff, Navy Region Mid-Atlantic. And for our new class members who will hear more about the military and their large presence in this area, with us having the largest Navy base right here, Navy Region Mid-Atlantic, headquartered in Norfolk, is also the largest US Navy region, which includes 14 installations and 50 Navy Operations Support Centers across 20 states. So as you can see, Bob Geis has amazing leadership skills and background, and it is my pleasure to welcome him to the virtual stage. Bob Geis, the mic is yours, I guess.
Thanks, Sarah Jane. Obviously, since Kit's in the room, quote unquote, in the room, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously it's a team effort in everything you do. And I think as a leader, if you are able to be surrounded by great people, even people that may not have the same views, Pastor Swann, like you pointed out, having that team and being able to have that trust with your teammates is essential. And Kit was essential to that response and on that Good Friday back in 2012 as anyone. And I definitely don't want to miss an opportunity to say what a great person and leader and friend that he is. And also, you know, following Pastor Swann is also a really tough thing to do. So I'm in an enviable position to do that. But thank you for the opportunity. Also, I think I'm the one that's been the longest term alumni, I guess. Is that what that is? I don't want to say old, although certainly there's gray hair there as well. So I was a class of 2013 for Civic, and I will tell you the thing that has been most apparent to me as my association. I've been on the board since I retired from the Navy, and actually I was the military liaison before I left active duty to the Civic Leadership Institute. So it really has been integral to my time here in Hampton Roads. And it was really one of the big reasons why I wanted to stay. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. You know, I'm also the chairman of the alumni committee. So, and I just want to put a shout out to the class of 2021. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you don't end this program year as a different person, then maybe you didn't put as much into it as you could have. I have not met anybody any of the alumni, any of my own classmates that weren't changed in some way for the better from their experience here in Civic. And it's not just the networking, and I'll talk about that in a second as well, but it's the opportunity to grow and increase the aperture of what you're looking at. As a naval officer, you know, I lived all over the country. We were transients. We were vagabonds. We basically just, you know, we were part of a community for a very short period of time, and then we moved on. But we got here in 2004, and we were, you know, same thing. I was, you know, not sure how long we'd be staying here, but as it became more and more apparent that this was somewhere that we really wanted to, my wife and I and kids wanted to stay, being invested in the community was really important to us. And when I was at Oceana, having the opportunity to be a part of the Civic Leadership Institute was just an amazing opportunity to, again, expand that aperture, looking at how not just my view as a naval officer changed and how much better of a base commanding officer I was, but it was the opportunity to see how the military, and more importantly, the region, saw itself and where we could grow. And I've spent my time since helping the region in some small way grow and interact. So let's talk a little bit about networking. And not just with your own class. Len is here, and some other folks from the class of 2013, best class ever, are in the audience. We have over 60 alumni in this call, in this Zoom meeting right now. That's fantastic. It's not quite 10% of our 24 years of membership, but that's amazing. That should tell you right there how important this organization is to people that have gone through it. I want to take an opportunity to shout out to Mike Goldsmith is not here. He's a class of 2016. Mike Goldsmith is was also a deputy city manager in the city of Norfolk. And he and I, through our relationship with Civic, have really partnered better between the two cities, the staffs of the two cities of Chesapeake and City of Norfolk, in initiatives that we've started together that have gotten support from the city councils, gotten support from our other leadership, increased the interconnectivity and interconnection between our two cities, specifically in the public safety realm, but also in many other ways as well. So that is a direct 100% tangible evidence of how the connections of Civic helps make the region just a little bit better. And I'm just one small part of this. You look at all the people, all the alumni that the Civic Leadership Institute has, just think of that and think of how that small relationship is just one cog of this much bigger opportunity. And that's what it is. It's an opportunity, the networking opportunity, the opportunity to continue to grow as a person and as a leader. Those are all things that will stay with you, especially if you stay connected to the organization as an alumni. You can do that in many different ways, and I'm talking to a little bit of the class of 2021. When you finish your class, and I'm sure you're going to be energized like I was at the end of my time as a class member of the class of 2013, but you will be afforded the opportunity to become alumni and stay engaged. That's the best way to continue those relationships. Stay engaged. You can stay engaged. You'll see, and once we get out of the COVID environment and we're able to see each other more face to face, there's opportunities. There's the Founders Luncheon upcoming in May. Hopefully we'll be decodified by then, and we'll be able to interact personally. And the Darden Awards is just really one of the class events of the entire year across the region, and there'll be more of that to follow. once you are finished with your time in Civic and you want to become an alumni, there's many different ways to do that. There's different levels that you can join, but being a part of the organization has such great opportunities. It provides such great opportunities. I just want to say, I'm here today. I'm here in the region today. I'm here living in Hampton Roads today, when I could have moved anywhere in the country for an opportunity to retire and spend the rest of my time. But this is where we wanted to stay, and Civic helped make that happen. And more importantly, helped me want to stay here. So with that, I will pitch it back. And obviously I'm here with either chatting or via microphone to answer any questions as well.
So Bob, I don't know, Sarah Jane, am I stepping on you? Is this what you wanted me to do?
Yes, sir.
All right, I promise everybody this is the last you will hear from me tonight. So I'd like to thank Destini and Bonita and Akhil and Kevin and Bob. And by the way, you know, what a eloquent group of folks who gave you a little bit of a taste of what's to come. And I hope that that was thought-provoking to you and kind of whet your appetite for what you're in for here. Now, fully recognize that I am standing between you and the virtual bar. I'm in my office, and so I don't think that John Reinhardt lets me have a bar in here as far as he knows. I'll be brief, but I think you'll find this next 8 months to be relevant, fun, and informative. And in fact, after every program day, when I went through and the class of 2014, again, best class ever, I would come back home and come back to work and go, that was the most fascinating day of my life. I learned so many things that I had no idea about around here. So I will say that our staff is here to support you in almost any way possible so that you get the most out of this year, and they are second to none. Sarah, Jane, Amasa, and Megan will do everything within their power and even more to ensure that you get the full Civic experience, even though we're forcing you to start virtually. Our commitment to you is to provide you a deep understanding of the issues facing our region. We commit to providing you meaningful relationships to the members of your class and to our alumni. We commit to connect you to leaders in the front lines of some of the most innovative projects and initiatives of our day and our region. And again, we ask you to commit to each program day to a meaningful outcome to your community impact initiatives and to one another. The staff, the board, and our alumni cadre of over 950 are here to maximize your experience. Thank you so much and welcome aboard. Opportunity awaits.
Thank you, Kit, and thank you again to all of our speakers. So we're going to move into breakout rooms, and just to kind of give you background, in a non-COVID year, we'd currently be attending a cocktail reception. You would have heard from our fantastic speakers, and then you are given the opportunity to have more conversations with our alumni that are there and also your fellow Civic class members. So we ask that you hang out for a little bit longer with us. This is probably some of the most important things that you will do tonight and in some of our other sessions where we break out into small breakout rooms. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you all did too. And the breakout rooms are, you know, obviously it is hard and it is exhausting, but we hope that you will maybe even stay on with us a little bit tonight and go through and do a couple more little breakouts with some of your friends that you're making. A couple of quick reminders for our 2021 members. Alumni, we have reminders for you too, so just stay tuned for a couple of minutes. If you've not signed up 2021 for the tech session, please be sure to do so. Although I will tell you, I'm very impressed with your talents and skills on Zoom. So well done. You managed to stay with us. We will be setting up peer connections, and that will be a way for you to connect with another member of the Civic class. And Amasa will send you information on this. So please participate in that. It's really important. We will be sending you an entrance survey and some pre-reads before our opening session on October 22nd and 23rd. And speaking of the opening session, this is kind of important, and Amasa will be sending you additional details and the link to join the session shortly. Now for our alumni. Please be on the lookout for future opportunities to engage with our team, our fellow alumni, and the class of 2021. We may be in a virtual setting, but it is no excuse not to turn us on and just to have us on in the background, even if you have to work at the same time. We completely get that. But we would love to see your faces. And again, I know I said it in our room, it means an awful lot to me that you all came out tonight to support our team and also our new class members. For anyone who'd like to stay around, we will offer the chance to move into more breakout rooms. Thank you so much for joining us. Civic Class of 2021, we are giving you the warmest welcome, and we look forward to working with each and every one of you.